Hey, it looks like we've got it. Hi, everyone. I'm here to be online and live. I'm going to double check the chat and see if we've got anyone saying hi. Please, if you're there, say hello, drop a line. Be great to see some conversation going on. As with my last attempted live stream, my Facebook group voted on a topic for today, and we're going to discuss forgive me, I'd love to blame that on the cats this time, like I did for the first live stream, but it's not quite going to work out that way this time. But that's okay. I'm going to mute the phone now. As I was saying, they voted on the history of Xerox between the Foundation and Legacy. So a couple of quick notes, and then I'll get into it. The first one is this. I'm not giving away any parts of the story, just kind of background and a little bit of contextual information. Thanks, Keith. And then I'm going to fill in a couple of the dots that will come out more completely when I release Seeds of Revenge, which will be out after Xerox Legacy, although it is a foundational series book, short story. Okay, so that's that, and I guess we'll get into it. Story of Legacy focuses on two main characters. You've got an Aslan and Ariana, and they need to fix the current positions that they are in and bring them to the right position during coronation. And by doing so, they lift up all of the founding families that were part of the original ruling structure. So that's kind of the goal of the story for them. Now, the reason why the twins grew up separately was because there is a bias, a concern. If you remember from the foundational series, the Ven were genetically experimenting on the primary leadership, and the House of J being the primary results of that experimentation. There was a significant concern about Tellurian twins in general. So, from the time in the Foundation forward, families just kind of quietly began to eliminate twins from the Tellurian physical expectations or reproductive expectations. If somebody came up with a twin, a family, they would use a DNA reconstructor and they would merge the two into one baby. So the Tellurian would only have one baby. Often this was a decision made by the whole family, and it was just kind of expected over time instead of a put into the place or put into the plan kind of thing. They didn't have to sit and think it out usually. Then 20 years before our characters come onto the page in Legacy, one person looked at the two little heartbeats and said, no, not going to do it. But she knew that meant that her daughters were going to have to go through quite a bit of concern. And, that led to them being separated while they were being raised. And obviously the repercussions that you see in the book follow. It's been an enjoyable story to create, I can tell you that. There are several other things that if you read the Foundation series, carry over. But you don't have to read the Foundation series to read these stories. There are influences, but there's enough about these stories that, or in these stories, that will go forward as their own independent series. History besides, okay, since the Foundation, it's been 10 generations, roughly 200 years, 250 years, somewhere in there. And, you know, that leads to lots of family members and lots of changes and lots of history and lots of influence. So that has led to many different encounters. But the one thing that hasn't been maintained since the fall of the Ven Empire and the Foundation series is up until the short war, short by standards of this universe, they had never encountered any kind of environment beyond peace. Everyone worked together. They negotiated through problems. There was no significant problematic encounters that remotely resembled war for all of this time. So by the time the short war that surfaces before this book begins, this generation is not ready. But you'll see deeper into why that's the case. But the bottom line is they've had a very peaceful existence, which is a wonderful thing. And that's what they will always aspire to maintain. Now, those are the two big factors that I think will affect the overall understanding of the story, if you really need a deeper understanding that you can't pick up. I'm starting to babble, so I apologize for that. Little bit about the way the government has remained structured. Right from the very beginning, the founding families, which were primarily psionic, but not exclusively, were put into place as the primary rulers of this universe. And for the original Foundation series, that included the houses of Sar, Jay, Palaron, Maddox, and I cannot, Bree, and about 5 others that are current, I had jotted down and don't have right in front of me like I should have. Sorry. But these houses have all been in position where they continue to train their children from the minute they're born forward to be loyal to their people, not so much their government. In theory, if it's better for the people, the ruling families would be fine with whatever changes the government sees fit, which is why it's the Council of Families that they work with, kind of like your Congress, kind of. And then you've got the founding families. Everything about this world is built around family in some form. And they respect that. And they're about their people and each other. And this has been maintained literally from the foundation forward. So as the ruling families have continued to give birth and raise their children, they take the time to educate them in that goal. So should the time come that the ruling families are no longer needed as ruling families, but instead as another function, they are able to make that shift comfortably if it's better for the people of Xerox. As the empire has grown, the restructuring of the government hasn't been much of a priority. And the empire has grown after the fall of the Ven Empire. Many of the formerly Ven worlds that had been subjugated saw Xerox as a liberator and as a potential protector should the event ever return, or some other hostile race, or hostile species, I guess, to be accurate. So they applied for application to becoming part of the Xerox Empire. And at that point, Xerox just kind of said, we'll take whoever, we'll protect whoever, we'll work together to help make sure they can protect themselves. And they have thrived going forward, which meant that every member of the Xerox Empire has thrived in the peaceful situation that they've enjoyed. That being the case, that drew more people over the last 200 or 250 years to Xerox. So it's become quite a large empire, and they cover quite a bit of space, which has left them with that buffer for protection, because the larger they got, the less people wanted to address them in aggressive manners. And this is why anyone doing so would take them off guard. They're quite surprised by it in the story. That covers all of the history that comes to mind. And next Saturday we will do morning coffee. And now that I think I've got my setup properly, I will be on time at 8 o'clock on Saturday morning. Really looking forward to being able to go live without any complications. If you have any questions, feel free to drop them in the comments below when this gets processed and becomes available for replay. If you're looking forward to the book, feel free to let me know what you're looking forward to. I know I've talked about it a couple times now, so I'm really looking forward to getting to being able to share this with all of you. There should be an author interview. I've got one scheduled, and I'm working on scheduling 3 more, so we'll watch for those to come up. They'll be up on Mondays. Not this Monday, but probably the next Monday. And I think that covers everything I've wanted to talk about this morning. So have a great day. See you later.